very much, everyone, for coming today. My name is Bill Swartz, and beside me is nationally recognized urban expert David Rusk. And I really appreciate David making the trip up here today. I want to begin by saying that the purpose of this press conference is to highlight the challenges faced by your county students and taxpayers and offer some potential solutions. Countless people have said that the key to our future is education. With a strong and viable school system, we not only turn out successful and prosperous citizens, we also turbocharge our economy with a productive workforce, and we lower our crime rate. Education is a key driver of success. If education is that important, we owe it to ourselves to be honest about what makes a strong and sustainable education system. When reforming our school system, we need to base our decisions and actions on real data and understand the underlying factors that really drive educational success. This is not the movies. Morgan Freeman and Edward James Olmos aren't going to come out, or are not going to come in as heroic educators or administrators and magically save the day. Our education system needs transformation. But make no mistake, this transformation will not take place via magic bullets. This transformation won't take place by lone heroic teachers or administrators like we see in the movies. It will happen by implementing authentic reform and sensible policies based on real statistics. I applaud community leaders who are rising to the occasion and working hard to identify ways to transform our schools. I know many of these community leaders, and I know they really care about these kids and our community. I believe Chief Recovery Officer David Meckley is one of York's finest leaders, and I know he is being very sincere when he says that he is weighing all options and hasn't made his mind up yet. As leaders and citizens weigh the options, I believe it's important that we remember one thing. Important public policies should be based on facts and not ideologies. In our haste to make a decision about how to reform our schools, I believe we should identify exactly what the problem is that we are trying to solve. If we're trying to improve the quality of education for our children, the information contained in this new report from David Rusk shows that charter schools may not be the answer. If we are trying to reform our city school district so that it is financially sustainable for taxpayers and students, then once again, charter schools may not provide the solutions we are seeking. The key is to look at the data. Rusk's new report seems to point to the fact that the administrators and teachers in the city school district have, despite talk to the contrary, done about as good a job as could be expected when you consider the dramatic concentration of poverty in our district. I urge York Countyans to review the dramatic internal reform measures suggested publicly by the school district, which are available online. Then consider the positive impact of those proposed changes on the financial and educational health of the district. When people examine these two factors, some may conclude that we should drop the distraction of the shiny object of charter schools and focus on real and plausible reform. I believe that there are real alternatives to the all-charter school approach that can dramatically transform our city schools. We need serious and comprehensive reform. However, we also need to avoid gambling on an unproven experiment. Charter schools just are not the panacea people had once hoped they would be. With this new report, David Rusk has provided us with some fresh details about our community. Reviewed alongside other information, Mr. Rusk's new data will help guide our community as we weigh important decisions in the coming weeks and months. In the long term, I think most people have come to the conclusion that we as a community can't ever fully reform education until we significantly reduce the concentration of poverty in the heart of our county. Mr. Rusk, in his original reports, suggested one of the effective ways this can be accomplished. His recommendation was to incentivize mixed-income housing throughout the county. This would allow people to live near their workplace and would also allow their children to attend quality nearby schools. Mr. Rusk said that housing policy is school policy. Incentivizing mixed-income housing throughout the county is a long-term solution, to be sure, and I hope we get to work on it soon. The size of that task should not cause us to give up. It should inspire us to get going. In the short term, we have kids in the heart of our county who need a quality education, and we taxpayers need a school system with a sustainable financial model. We need to address both of those needs now, as best we can, while also working on long-term solutions. I think we can walk and chew gum at the same time. I want to be clear. I echo the concerns of those who say that the current situation is unsustainable. I agree with other leaders who clearly have the best interests of our children and our community in mind. We do need major reform, and our solutions need to be as big as the problems. My hope, though, is that these solutions will be driven by data rather than by ideology. As we've seen recently, our state's governor has been pushing the privatization of the lottery and liquor stores. But these efforts are driven by political ideology, not evidence. Our governor has yet to prove to us taxpayers, with tangible figures, that privatizing the lottery, the liquor stores, and the schools makes financial sense. We York-Countyans know full well that our governor slashed education funding dramatically. So we aren't buying the line that it's the teachers' fault that our schools are running out of money. I am a business person. I've owned a small business for 15 years. My dad was a native Yorker and a real conservative who did not rush into anything without understanding the full impact. He certainly didn't spend time on solutions that were risky if there wasn't evidence supporting that approach. He especially didn't take unnecessary gambles when there were other approaches that would bring the same or better results with less risk. I urge my fellow citizens and the leadership in our community to base reform decisions on solid data, not ideology. The information provided by Mr. Rusk today will show that in the end, you can't really fix the educational system without addressing the concentration of poverty. I'm speaking to you today because I'm very concerned that we will get distracted by the shiny object of charter schools. I don't want to see us invest a lot of time and money in this venture only to find that David Rusk was right, that the concentration of poverty in our community is the core issue. Now you might say, how the heck do we address the core of poverty? Well, if you go to my website, which is imagineoneyork.com, at the bottom you'll see links to Mr. Rusk's original reports on York. David Rusk has been spending time here and studying our community for 15 years. To use a medical metaphor, Mr. Rusk is a specialist. He has offered us a specific remedy for what ails us, and I think it's high time we take the doctor's advice. Look at the data that Mr. Rusk is about to present. A huge percentage of the children in the city are considered low income, while far fewer are low income in many of the surrounding school districts. I believe there are very few of us that would argue that such an arrangement is healthy for our community. And there are also very few of us who would be foolish enough to blame these children for growing up in a core of poverty. Now we can sit here and point fingers at who's to blame. We can use the word they all we want. But I'm here to tell you something that I've learned in my years working in this community. There is no they. There is only we. It's not the city, it's our city. And we were waking up to realize that Mr. Rusk's prediction of 15 years ago is coming true. Today's winners are tomorrow's losers. I graduated from York Suburban Senior High in 1987. When I was there, only 4% of the kids were considered low income. Now the figure is 20%. The problem of an inelastic tax base affects all municipalities and school districts, not just the city. We will not succeed in meeting the enormous challenges we face if we are divided. Once we realize that we have more in common than we have separating us, we will be in a position to make decisions from a position of unified strength, rather than making demands from a position of divided weakness. Together we are greater than the sum of our parts. Together we are one York.